Thanks for obviously coming along today. We're really excited as a party to be here at our old stomping ground, the Broncos Leagues Club. We're here to have a meet and greet and Jared's pull a few strings, and later on his brothers Stephen and Kevin, our Queensland State of Origin coach, will be joining us. So I just would like to thank Jared for pulling his weight and bringing them along, and should be good fun. I just wanted to announce a couple of policies that the Glenn Lazarus Team have. One is the Get Involved program. The Get Involved program involves a $150 payment per child, so as they can help. The money will help families pay for things like equipment, fees, registration fees, and just give them the incentive to get our kids involved in sport. It was a part of my maiden speech as a senator, and I'm really keen to provide as much policy and as much opportunity for our young kids to be able to participate in sports that may not necessarily be able to afford them. We see 1 in 4 Australian children are considered obese, and it's just not good enough. Karen and I started out with junior footy clubs. We played a multitude of junior sport, and it was very much affordable back in those days. But today, through various things, the cost of living and of course insurances, it's becoming quite difficult for families to have their children participate in sports. So that is a policy that I think would be is encouraging people to get their kids to get into sport. We see too often now children not being able to participate purely because the family are unable to provide the money to allow them to participate. We often talk about kids sitting in their bedrooms on their computers, their PlayStations, their Xboxes. We need to get the children out and about and living a healthy life. The other policy that I want to announce today is the Empties Recycling Program. We've seen in South Australia, we've seen a program similar being very successful in that state. We've seen New South Wales announce a similar piece of legislation only recently, and I think it should be adopted nationally. I think it'd be a great opportunity for sporting clubs and community organisation and groups to be able to provide some revenue, which will enable them to do various things. Again, it would be 10 cents for every empty bottle, can or carton, and obviously that would be taken back to a recycling centre where they would receive 10 cents per item. Again, encouraging people to clean up our environment, as we see on a daily basis. Things like the Great Barrier Reef being affected by things that we as humans are doing to it. We see our waterways, we see marine life dying and getting sick through plastic bottles and plastic items, and I just think this would be a wonderful way, it would be a positive way in which we could clean up the environment and also provide funding for our local footy clubs, soccer clubs, our local cricket clubs, or community groups. And obviously both these policies are positive. They're positive policy, because in the long run, healthier societies don't put a strain on medical, on our Medicare schemes, and of course, the more money that these clubs and community groups can have in their pockets means that the money, more money is not having to be given to them by governments or mums and dads, basically. So they're the two policies that the Glenn Lazarus Team want to announce today, and now I will throw it to you for questions.
Okay, so how soon could we see this sporting grant given to the families?
Well, obviously, you know, we're probably not going to make government this election, but what we will do is we will draft a piece of legislation that I'm hoping the government will, or whoever's in government, will take with both hands and implement. I think that anything that we can do to encourage our children, young people to get out and be active has got to be a positive thing, and I just think that this is a really inexpensive way. $150 would mean a lot to some families. They could, it would be provided to them by the way of a tax rebate. So tax time, they just, and it'd be means tested, and so the family could recoup that $150, which would make a big difference to a lot of families in this country.
How expensive is it for kids who are playing football, say if they're in a junior team?
Yeah, it's very expensive, particularly if you've got a number of children. The big issue, or one of the big issues, is that insurance. Sporting clubs have got to have insurance, obviously, and you know, it can range from $300 to $400 to $500 a child, depending on the sport. And if you have multiple children, it can start running into the thousands, and families just can't afford to do that. I think that by way of giving them a helping hand, it's a positive. It entices and encourages young children to get out and play sport, and as they say, playing sport keeps them out of court, and I think that that's very relevant in our society today. I think sport is a wonderful way not only to create a healthy society, but to keep them out of mischief and giving them something to do.
And this recycling, would you like to see sporting clubs play a central role in that?
Yeah, I would. I'd like to see sporting clubs, clubs of all descriptions, have big cages where people that are a part of those clubs can bring their empty containers and put them there. Then of course the club would then take them onto the recycling plant where they would receive 10 cents per empty container. And again, if the club has more revenue, they may not have to charge the parents or the families as much money as they do for registration or for the equipment.
Is that sort of what you perceive, that sporting clubs will sort of become synonymous with these recycling bins?
Well, the problem, one of the big issues, particularly in this state, is that they are struggling. It's just not, people just aren't, there's no jobs, so people don't have the money to spend on registration and the equipment. And of course the other thing is that this state's been in drought for 5 years, and that's having a real impact on the state as well. So I think it ticks all the boxes. It's positive, healthy children. It helps families to get their children into sport, and of course it helps these struggling clubs to be able to provide the facilities that these children will be playing on or in.
Any more questions? No?
All good?
Yeah, we're great.
All right, thank you very much, guys, for coming along today. Being a small party, we appreciate it.
Dairy farmers?
Just the other thing I want to just quickly touch on. I was at the Maloney Dairy yesterday, listening and learning. Both Kerrod and I were there, listening and learning listening to the farmers and also listening to their representative groups about the situation they're in at the moment. We're losing dairy farms hand over fist purely because they are just not getting enough money for the milk that they're providing. And I've assured the dairy industry in Queensland that if we have a role to play in federal politics at the end of the election campaign and after election day, we will work with the dairy industry to come up with legislation and policies that will, provide some relief for the dairy farmers of Queensland. And one of the other things that I'm really keen to put into operation is a code of conduct, so both the processors and the dairy farmers can work together to create positive outcomes for both parties. At the end of the day, it's the farmer, the poor old farmer, that is has everything to lose, and they just can't provide fresh quality milk under the current scheme. And I think that the least we could do as a society is demand that that supermarkets stock quality milk from private dairies that pay a little more for their milk when the dairy farmer sells it to them, so as that the dairy farmer can stay in business. And I think the least we can do as a society is look for that, demand that it be stocked, and pay a little extra for our milk. As I said yesterday, I don't think Australia would flinch as a country if we had to pay 10 cents more for a bottle of milk, as long as that 10 cents went straight back to the farmer and not the middleman, as in the processor or the big supermarkets.
I would say both these policies are really important in regards to the grassroots of society. We're talking about sporting clubs or the farmers. Not enough money filters down to the grassroots. Without grassroots funding, we won't see the sporting heroes tomorrow get an opportunity to play for Australia and play in the NRL. And without the dairy farmers, there is no milk. So more money needs to go back to the grassroots to ensure that their industry survives and is well provided for all Queenslanders.
All right. Thanks, guys. Thank you.